republic for which it stands.
One nation, under God.
Indivisible.
With liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
And we are back. It is Sunday afternoon, and we are tucked away in the war room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho. And with me again is Eli. I was able to drag Eli back in here today.
Yeah, it was about a 2-minute drive, but
you're not very far away. In fact, you finished up your second day yesterday of actually helping me in one of my permit classes. And how'd that go? You feel a little more. I know you've been around firearms and stuff because you're law enforcement, but did you feel a little more comfortable this time?
Oh yeah, it felt really good, and just getting to know all the different people coming in for the classes, it was really cool.
Yeah, another big milestone yesterday. You shot your first revolver.
Yes, I've seen it in movies, but
what did you think?
It was nice, actually. I really enjoyed it. I see revolvers, like I've been around them, never having shot them, but that made me want one. Yeah,
and I will say you were spoiled a little bit. That's a Smith & Wesson, and they have a Smith trigger is about the smoothest trigger that you're probably going to get on a revolver. And kudos to Smith & Wesson. They have some phenomenal revolver triggers, and they're just perfect. So it's just like anything else. Not all revolvers are created equal, and we need to get you on one that's got a little heavier pull and see what you think. But I mean, revolvers are fun, and I do occasionally carry a little Ruger LCR, a little 357, and they are fun and they have their place. But I tell you, a great big older revolver with a butter trigger like that they're just fun to shoot.
Yeah, it was.
So no revolvers ever.
No.
I should have picked up on that when you're like, they got a revolver, Todd. You need to. I'm like, oh, that's right. I just assumed. I'm sorry. We know what assuming does, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to do that. Did you come across anything new yesterday, like that you saw anyone doing that you were able to help them on? Because I mean, helping civilians shoot is kind of a new thing, right?
Yeah, just when we did like the one hand, the weak side hand.
Yeah.
That's helping people to. Sometimes they overcompensate; they go all the way across their body.
Yes, they do,
and that throws their aim off. So just being able to watch that and let them know, because sometimes it's hard when you're the one shooting.
Well, and they're nervous. And yesterday was really bad too because it was cold. Oh my gosh, it was cold.
It was,
and it was cold, but there was zero wind, not much wind, and if 10-mile-an-hour wind. I mean, there was a lady. She was an older lady. She did great, right? Shooting that. Man, she was shaking. Did you see her shake? And I'm like, whoa. And she started off shooting a little Taurus, a little like a tip-up barrel, and it immediately had problems. And I'm kind of glad because I gave her the Taurus TX22 to shoot. And they think that those little tip-up barrels are going to be simple to shoot. There's a lot going on, and they're so little. But I think she's pretty thankful too, and I gave her that bigger one to shoot because there's just a lot.
And she was good with it too.
She was really good with it.
Yeah, she was shooting really well.
That little one, I think, would have given her. I think she was able to shoot I think it fired like 4 rounds. And then for some reason, the firing, it was striking all the 22 rounds, but it wasn't hard enough or something because they weren't going off.
Yeah.
And then what a horribly pretty little gun, but horribly confusing. I mean, it was just kind of a mess.
Yeah.
Look now, I got to sneeze, man. Okay, it went away. I don't think I've ever actually had to sneeze during a podcast before. I caught that one. But yeah, so it was a good class.
Yes,
and I appreciate your help as always. And you have to tell your wife I said thank you too.
Oh, no problem. I think she wants me out of the house sometimes.
Does she? That probably. I know mine does a lot of the time. She's like, "When are you going to go do your podcast?" I'm like, "I'm headed out. Just leave me alone." So we got a little background on you, the last podcast that we did together, but I always forgot. I hope you don't mind. You've been on here twice now, so you're saying I can kind of consider you a staple of the podcast. It doesn't take much to get on. I mean, not that you shouldn't feel extra special, but you're part of the podcast now. You're close, right?
Yeah.
And you were a fan favorite. Everyone liked you. I got lots of comments on, oh, dude, Eli was great. We need him back again. So people liked you. But I always ask people on the podcast what you carry. Because we like to, we give each other a hard time sometimes around here, and we tease each other for, firearm choices. So don't take it personal, but I'm going to tease you. It's just what I do, and you can do the same to me. But what is it that you carry?
Glock 43.
Glock 43? How did you end up with that?
Subcompact kind of form of the Glock 17, which I was used to carrying as an officer. So, Glock 43, a little easier to...
Those darn triggers.
Yeah, but it's just really efficient, and it works, consistently.
Does. I've got one too. Well, my wife has one. I hate it. I cannot stand shooting that gun at all. Do you have one more gun, or is that's
the main one I carry? Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's everywhere. Where do you carry appendix? I mean, we're getting personal here.
Well, if I drop a couple pounds, I could do appendix carry, right?
We're working on that. We were supposed to start that this last week, but someone forgot. But you got a date with running.
Yes, yeah, I do.
You got Tuesday morning, right?
Yep.
Tuesday
bright
morning.
and early.
Bright and early,
or dark and early, whichever.
We're gonna make you get. You'll be appendix carrying that 43 before you know it. You'll be yelling at me. One of the two. So you go in the waistband, outside the waistband. I mean, everyone has a preference.
Typically inside the waistband.
Okay.
With winter time, sometimes conceal it in the pocket.
Gotcha.
But
Gotcha.
Yeah, usually inside the waistband.
You use a pocket holster, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
You were talking to an instructor here.
Yeah.
I've seen lots of scary stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable without some kind of holster in the pocket.
Good. Does your wife? Does she shoot?
Yeah, she took your class. That was about a year and a half. Actually, it wasn't a class. We did the private lessons. You met my wife. It's about a year and a half ago, not too long after we moved here.
Man, what, you just remind me. Now I feel like an ass. Really?
Yeah, I forgot what time of year that
I look a little bewildered, don't I? Because
yeah.
I have a hard time. I'll run into people in the grocery store and they will say, "Hey, Todd." I'm like, "Hey." My wife's like, "How do you know them?" I don't know.
Yeah, that was the first. That's how I came across you.
I totally apologize. You're holding this. Did you? Okay. So, did you look at me and say, yeah, he doesn't remember?
No, I thought you did.
I don't. You came out here with Pastor Paul and his group, though,
yes,
right? Okay,
yeah.
That's where I remember you from. Because that was like a month ago. Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, my wife took your, like I said, took a private lesson with you. And then
I'm so sorry.
I took note to, hey, I got to get back out here. Then when Pastor Paul's group got together, I was like, oh, yeah.
Wow.
Get back out there.
You'll have to apologize to your wife for me. Because I would probably see here. Now I need to I've never met your wife. Well, I guess I did, but not that I remember. And now I need to meet her because I'll probably go, oh, yeah. Did she have fun in the class?
Yeah. She enjoyed it.
I wasn't a jerk or nothing?
No, it was good. Yeah, so trying to get her to carry more often. But,
yeah. I fight the same battle.
Yeah.
Right? My wife, she'll come out and shoot, but she pretty much tells me, and it's cool because she's like, I just don't want. She goes, I'll have it if you're not here at the house. I've got it, but she's like, I'm not going to carry. She's like, she doesn't want to deal with the responsibility of that. And I guess I got to give kudos to someone if they say that, right?
Yeah.
Because they're making a choice, right? They're making a choice that I don't want to have to deal with that responsibility, so I'm not going to. And as much as I'd like to see her carry, I'd rather see her not carry if she doesn't want to deal with the responsibility than. And I think now she's got, we've got a 9-year-old. He's old enough. I've never had any problems with him, but now we got grandkids and she'll randomly stop to see the grandkids. Right. And depending on how she's going to carry, let's say it's in her bag or something I think I love my wife. I think if it's not her choice, she would forget that it was in her. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
She's going to forget it was, man, I feel like an ass now. I really do. Tell your wife I said I'm sorry. I don't. Gosh. Wow. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't recall.
Okay. If you, yeah, when you
She
see
may
it,
be on a picture on Facebook somewhere that I took of her during class, but other than that, I don't remember. Man, that's not good. So, when did you? And I know you talked in the past. You're law enforcement, you're ex-law enforcement, and you were military too, right?
Yeah. Air
So
Force.
when did you start shooting? I mean, before when you got it, some people just they get in the military. That's when they start, and some people start before. I mean, when do you remember? Let's do a deep dive.
I think it was after I got into the Air Force.
Okay, so you were in the Air Force. Okay.
Yeah, Air Force, and doing that testing was my first time shooting. And I think I'd thought about shooting beforehand, but then I got some advice as far as training and passing the test that you're better off going in, not having bad tendencies.
Right, because you got a clean slate. You can learn. Yeah.
So I think that's why I held off.
And in the military, they focused mostly on the rifle, right?
Yeah, the rifle. I think we had to qualify with a Beretta, but yeah, most of the time it was with the
the Beretta
rifle.
90. Yeah. How'd you like those?
They were all right. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't go back to them. But
Well, no, I tell you what, I've actually shot a few. I've shot them. They're okay. I've actually shot a few that I think you would enjoy, and they came out of a tactical shop, like Langdon's Tactical. My gosh, it's like driving a Ferrari. Those things are so slick, and they are so wonderful to shoot. And I know Magnum's he's a listener. He's listening. I think he brought one out that he had a bunch of work done to, or he did the work himself. Oh man,
yeah,
they're big. Mm-hmm. But man, they're amazing.
Yeah.
They're absolutely amazing.
Yeah, my first one actually after, like I said, the Beretta was fine. Didn't like it so much. My first one that I purchased was a XD9 Springfield.
The full size? Or was it the subcomp? Is it XD9 subcompact?
I believe that was a subcompact one. Yeah.
That was my second gun.
Really?
It was my second carry gun. And so there was one in class yesterday.
Oh, it was there?
Yeah,
I didn't see it.
the two gals that were shooting the Rugers, they had one.
Oh, yeah. Because it had the grip safety on it, right?
Yeah. So I've actually still got one in the safe over there, but they're like they shoot good, but they're like it's like holding onto a brick. I mean, the things are so squared off. Right, but I can't believe I used to carry that thing IWB in the waistband. That was a thick gun.
Yeah,
to carry in the waistband. That was a thick, heavy gun. That really was. But it was my first quality gun that I carried. So did you actually carry that one?
No, I didn't at the time. I was in California for one.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah, it was just one of my first ones to get to start practicing shooting outside of military.
Okay. Fantastic. And then you got through the military, went into law enforcement, and what did you, as an officer over there, what did you carry?
Glock 17.
It was a 17.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Did they allow you guys to have like a backup gun or anything?
Yeah. As long as you qualify, you could actually use that as your main firearm as well.
Wow. Okay.
As long as you qualified with it.
Were there some really odd guns that people would decide to use, or most of them just stick with the department issue?
Most were department issue. Some old timers might have keep their what did we have back then? I think it may have been a Beretta as well, or they had a revolver. Other than that, the thing was, if you had your own really nice firearm, the thing was, well, if you get in the shooting, they take it away.
Yeah,
for at least a period of time. So you might as well have the department issued, rather than having your actual property taken away.
And that's interesting too, because people that that carry guns, like can still carry. They need to understand that too. That if you get into a situation where you have to use it, they're taking your gun.
Yeah.
And I used to. I won't say it still bothers. Well, I understand why they do it, but it's like, I'm just gonna buy I don't want a cheap gun, but I'm gonna get an average, $600-700 gun. And they've kind of crept stuff I've added to firearms over the years. They've kind of crept up in value, and now I'm just like, whatever. I can shoot it really, really, really well, and that's probably more important than them, worrying about if they're going to take it or not.
Yeah, as long as you can manipulate the gun and it fires consistently,
it doesn't really matter at this point. Yeah, gotcha. Well, Thanksgiving is coming up. I can't believe we're already into the holidays already.
Yeah. Actually, my mom's coming to visit in early December or mid-December. And,
Awesome. Get her down here to put her on the podcast.
and my wife was mentioning something about, we'll do this. And I'm thinking, hey, that's like so far. And then I realized, it's a couple weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. She going to be down just to visit for a few days, or is she going to stay through Christmas?
Just a few days.
Gotcha. She come up from California?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's going to freeze to death up here.
Yeah, we have some stuff up here to help keep her warm when she gets here. And
I was gonna
we might
say.
have to go grab a coat as well.
Yeah, it's a little cold up here.
Yeah.
So you guys do anything big for Thanksgiving, or do you just? You told me the other day you got like 4 dinners you're going to.
Yeah. So that run we're going to do is going to come in handy.
Is it going to come in handy, or is it just going to be negated by 4 meals? You're never going to get that 43 carry appendix. It's true though. It's true.
Might have a jelly roll to hide it in.
So turkey for Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some people are turkey people. Some people are ham people. So
I don't get the ham thing.
My wife loves ham.
Really?
I'm kind of disappointed this year, and I know he's not listening, but my new son-in-law got this new job, right? Great job. Fantastic. He's providing for my daughter and my grandson just wonderfully, right? He has to work. And he's previously started last year, and I got a little spoiled. He smoked the turkey.
Ooh.
And I'm not getting a smoked turkey this year. And I'm not quite sure what to do now. I love my wife, and she can cook a turkey, but that smoked turkey was phenomenal.
Now, would he smoke it at your place, or would he smoke it?
He lives in Filer, and he would smoke it there and bring it over. It was still hot.
Yeah, that's okay.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. He was the guy that stayed up, and I don't know anything about smoking. And if it's just you got to tend that thing all the time. But he did great last year.
Nice. Yeah, that is the thing.
I think he smoked a ham too.
Oh man, yeah, I have that in my family. My sister's husband, yeah, same thing. That's the turkey I miss now.
Yeah.
And yeah, if for whatever reason he wasn't there, you're just like,
yeah.
Can you at least bring the turkey?
Just if you can't make, can you ship me some? I don't care if it's a little cold. I got a microwave. It'll be fine. It's awesome. I won't tell your wife that you just would rather have this other turkey.
She knows she had it too. But yeah, we're going to some other dinner, so maybe we'll probably find another good turkey.
Okay, hopefully someone's frying one.
Ooh.
I've never had deep fried turkey.
You can't talk like this before the job.
I know. I know. It sounds good, right? We can get you in a turkey coma. You're out. But I bring up Thanksgiving because, it's right around the corner, and I haven't done this for a while, and I probably am not going to get a chance to this year. But in the past years, I know my family, as well as a lot of other families, would you get everyone together, and I remember even growing up, it was. You go out for that, that pheasant hunt, or, I think I had some family, and I got family all over the place, but we went out to visit some family in Iowa, and they had a hog farm, right? But they had all these acres, and I remember the adults would go out, the dads would go out, if you're old enough, and they'd go traipse through the freaking oak woods looking for pheasants and stuff, and as kids, we'd follow behind them, but we'd do that, or we'd shoot clay pigeons, we'd shoot trap, that kind of stuff, and I know that's a tradition for a lot of people, and if you're going to do that, that's fine, but I want to just throw out there, be safe about it. Mm-hmm. Be safe about it, because it's a holiday and you may drink a little, and that's fine. You do you, but let's be responsible about it and be safe about it, and make sure if you do that, you create some memories, right? Because if you take your kids, your grandkids, or whatever, you're creating. I still remember this stuff, right? I still remember when I did it when I was a kid. And that's what we need to do if we want to, keep the Second Amendment alive. And Second Amendment's not about necessarily hunting, but right, it involves firearms, but that's all part of it, right? Yeah. Without the Second Amendment, without actually firearms, and we know they want all of them, we don't have anything. And so you've got to foster that in the kids, foster that in your kids and grandkids and nieces and nephews and all that stuff, and create those family traditions. And honestly, shooting is firearms they're the backbone of this country.
Yeah.
I mean, from to the point of, we do it for enjoyment now. Most of it's for enjoyment or for protection. Back in the day, it was protection, and that's what you used to live, because that's what you killed your deer with. That's what you went duck hunting with. That's how you fed your family, along with defense. So, I mean, it's got just a rich history, and I always kind of get nostalgic a little bit when it comes. I like Thanksgiving. I really do. Growing up, I have all those memories, and we don't exactly do all that stuff now. It changes and evolves, but I do like Thanksgiving. I like it when the family comes together, and I look forward. I think I like Thanksgiving probably more than I do Christmas.
Yeah, same here, actually. It's my favorite holiday.
It's because it's not miserable out yet.
Yeah.
In Idaho, that after Christmas comes, you've got January and February and March, which are just horribly windy and horribly cold. But I like Christmas, but I really like Thanksgiving. It's probably that and the 4th of July and I don't even do anything spectacular for either of them, but I think it's just more that maybe like that patriotic type of thing.
Yeah, and the simplicity, like I like Thanksgiving more than Christmas, and that with Christmas, it's kind of commercialized so much.
Well, yeah.
So it's like, oh, what am I getting someone? Thanksgiving, it's bring food, hang out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's just look at it this way. I like the way you put that. Okay. And that's probably true. But let me look at this. I don't have to remember to buy people freaking gifts for Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
Because I don't think about gifts till like a week before.
Yeah.
So I could put the stress off even longer now. It's just kind of relaxed, right? Until the wife looks at me and wants me to help with the freaking dishes or something.
Yeah.
Which it is what it is. But anyhow, this isn't the cooking show, I guess. This is a firearms show. One more thing that I want to throw out there, and then we got our main topic that we'll get to, is and I'm not picking on anyone. I don't know who exactly listens to my podcast or not. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not picking, but I get calls during the week, and I had a gentleman call me, and obviously with everything going on in the world, he wants a firearm, right? And he's inquiring about classes, and he's like, I don't have a firearm yet. What would a class cost me? And we went over that, and I said, he goes, well, I need to get a firearm first. I said, no. I said, actually, you don't. I said, come use one of my firearms. I don't have every firearm known to man. I only have like 8 or 9, but I got like different sizes and representations of different brands and, grips and, all that kind of stuff. Come use mine, pay for the ammo. You can use my guns at no extra cost. We'll put you through a class, right? And you can just take it and get an idea what you want to purchase before you go and buy one, right? Save you something. You can't return again. Well, you can sometimes, but you're not going to get what you paid for it. It's immediately going to drop like a brand new car when you take it out of the lot. And he goes, no, I don't need to do that. I'm going to call I forget where he said his brother-in-law, his brother or his brother-in-law is law enforcement somewhere. And I'm going to talk to him, and he's going to tell me what I need to buy. And I was like, you sure you don't want to test mine? I tried to encourage this. Nope. And then he called me back a little while later, and he was asking some more questions. And where can I go buy a SIG P320? And he goes, what did he say? SIG P320 compensated. And I'm like, what? And he goes like, do you sell guns? I don't sell guns. But this relative had told him exactly what he needed to buy. I'm like, great for that relative, but a gun is a personal choice. And you need to go. It's not a huge gun, but it's a bigger full-size gun. Are you ready to actually carry that gun? Because you talk like you wanted to carry a gun. You got to be real careful when someone tells you, this is the gun you need to go buy. You don't have a gun yet. You want to carry, go buy this gun right here. Shy away from people that tell you that. I mean, just go out and handle some guns on your own. I've actually met people, no charge, I like doing it, met people at a gun store, who were new to this, and actually we asked to handle guns from behind the counter, and I was there helping them and talking to them. And I just be very careful, just because you have a family member who is law enforcement or military or just into guns, and when they say you need this gun, because maybe not, that may work for them, but it's a very personalized decision. I'm sure you've kind of maybe seen some of that, right? I mean, you could stand up for that It's a very personal decision. What fits you may not fit your wife or someone else. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think I agree. It is a personal decision. There's other things in life that way, right? Women in shoes, right? You wouldn't say, hey, I know someone who has shoes and she told me to buy these shoes. No, her camping equipment's another example, right? You wouldn't just hopefully take someone's advice, hey, buy this tent. No, if you have the opportunity to test drive a couple of tents before making that investment in the one that's right for you, you should.
Then go do it.
Yeah, don't just say, hey, this tent's the best because I tried it, so I bought it. No, if you want to make a financially wise decision,
there you go.
You should try to test run some products because it is personal. Someone who might like one type of tent, that doesn't mean that that's the same tent that you're going to enjoy, your needs or whatever. So same thing as with your camping equipment. You wouldn't just go buy it because so-and-so is a camper and they said buy it.
Right.
You would want to make a personal decision to see what works for you.
Yeah.
So
be careful.
In this case, if you have a class that's going to let you test run different firearms.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good way to make sure you're making the right investment in the firearm.
And a lot of people have taken me up on. I'm just like, if someone just says, hey, look, you're new to guns, go buy this one. Don't do it. Maybe that's the gun for you, but don't do it because buyer's remorse, man.
Yeah, and that's what I did actually before purchasing that Springfield XD. I did go to the range and tested a couple of guns out before arriving at that decision.
And the SIG P320 is an okay gun. I mean, sometimes they like to go off by themselves, but I don't know if you follow guns or not, but it has a history of going bang in the holster, supposedly. So whatever. Carry at your own risk, I suppose. But that was just kind of a underhanded swipe at SIG. That's just what I do, folks. If you listen to the podcast at all, that's just what I do.
That reminded me, that's what it was. The sheriff's department had 6 Hour. Yeah, before. It wasn't Beretta. Yeah.
6 Hour, do you remember what model it was?
I don't. Yeah, because I never had to use it. By the time I got there, they were basically taking those out, and it was going to the Glock 17.
Yeah, there's a lot of Glocks out there, and I know a lot of them will carry the Smith & Wesson M&Ps as well. I think there's those and Glocks. I think are probably the main firearms. Now, what so 17's a 9mm. Yeah. Did you know in the past were they 9mm or were they 40 cal?
I believe they were always 9mm.
Okay.
And one of the reasons for that switch had to do with the parts availability.
Gotcha.
Was that the 6 Hour the parts were either hard to come across or they were raising the prices and replacement parts. So the Glock, the replacement parts were cheaper.
I'll tell you, their Glocks are ugly. I mean, they do shoot. I mean, they will function. I mean, I'll give them that. They're not really my cup of tea. And I would tell everyone, if you got I don't think they make them for your 43, but if you got more of a full size, like a 19 or a 17 or something, one of those bigger Glocks, one of the best things you can do, drop in Timney trigger, best $150 you'll spend.
I might have to do that.
I've installed 4 of them now.
Okay.
Actually, I'm not a gunsmith and I don't advertise myself as a gunsmith, but like my parents, they got 219s and my dad is like, they just jerked the crap out of those triggers. And they're my mom and dad, so they listen to me, but they don't listen to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I urged them, and they actually bought a couple of those triggers, and I installed them. And then there's a couple ladies in my women's class that I've helped install. They get them, and they just create another class, and I just go ahead and install the triggers for them, and we have a good time. So I swear I've rebuilt those guns for those ladies, which is fine. It's just fine. It's all we have a great time doing it. But so let's get into the main topic here, and get you back out of here before it's dark and you can't find your way home. I forget. It's crazy that it gets dark so early now. It still weirds me out a little bit. There's a video that I actually got sent to me by another subscriber to the podcast, a guy by the name of, I don't know if he wants me to say his name. We'll say his name, Nathan. By Nathan. He sent me this and he wanted me to take a look at it. He always sends me really good stuff. Nathan's got a heck of a Sasquatch story too, by the way.
Is that the Nathan I took the class with?
Nope.
No.
No. No, Nathan used to help me with this. Like he was before I even had a business. This is going to be a deep dive, and then we'll get back to this. Before I started Patriot Defense, before any of this, right? I didn't even know it was still on there. I may have canceled it out, or Facebook may have got rid of it because I haven't posted it for 10 years probably. But I had a page that I started. It was called Life with a Gun, and it was just like you could post to it. I could post stuff to it, and just conversations with concealed carry people. And you just, whatever. Hey, I got a new gun today. Hey, I'm carrying this holster. Just one of those, right? And I started it back in the day, and this was, like I said, on Facebook, but back in the day when online forums were, oh man, did you do online forums?
Little,
I loved online.
That even made me remember the America Online, the chat rooms.
This was later than that.
Yeah.
But I loved online. I mean, I'm still a member of these forums. I can't believe they're still up and running, to be 100%.
Oh, really?
Oh, there's some that are up and running. But anyhow, I started Life with a Gun, and it was just this Facebook group, right? And there was thousands of people on there. It was my claim to fame. Not that I made any money off of it. And I needed an extra moderator, right? And so I reached out to Nathan, and he lives north of us a long ways. And he was a moderator. Helped me moderate it. And I don't know this guy. I mean, I saw him online, right? I never knew this guy. And then one day, like he has some family in Boise. And he's like, hey, I'm going to be in the Boise. I said, well, come down. And I had just started Patriot Defense. And I had dug, I have another shooting range, by the way. You don't know that, but I have another one. And it's south of Filer. And it's on my parents' property. My parents own like 50-something acres out there. And so it's better than this one. It's dug into a hillside. It's phenomenal.
Nice.
But he came out. I just got this range dug. I said, come on out. Let's go shoot. So here he comes. Like, he dropped his family off in Boise, and he said he was leaving, and his wife and his sister-in-law are like, so where are you going, Nathan? He's like, I'm going to Filer, Idaho. To do what? To meet this guy that you've never met before in your life? He goes, yep, and we're going to go shoot guns. And I still have pictures. He showed up, and we shot guns that day.
Nice.
I'd never met him before. Just talked, right?
Yeah.
It was pretty good. It was back when you could trust people.
Yeah.
And so I've known Nathan. I met him once, and I've known him for a long time.
Yeah.
So he's the guy that sent me this video. God, I'm just yappy today.
Well, if you did that today, it'd probably be an FBI agent.
More than likely, kind of see what I got going on there. Hey, buddy, where's the stash? And I really think you should cut.
You want to kidnap someone?
I really think that I need someone to cut this barrel off this shotgun for me, and that we'd have the next Ruby Ridge.
Yeah.
So to my FBI agents that is probably listening to this podcast right now, none of that has actually happened. You always got to put that that disclaimer out there. But anyhow, we got this video, and this video I think it was in Maine. Do you remember if it was Maine? I think it was Maryland.
I think
Maryland. One of those M states.
Yeah.
And so this guy goes into Lowe's, and he's doing a little shopping for I don't know what, some trim or something, 2x4s. I don't know. But he went in there, and I would classify this guy as he's not one of the crazy ones. I've seen some crazy ones. I would, he opened carries, which is fine, but I think he was carrying his handgun, and he was open carrying his rifle. Mm-hmm. And actually, was it an SBR? It was an SBR, wasn't it? Was that an SBR?
I think it wasn't.
It wasn't an SBR.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, it was a AR pistol.
Yes,
because it had the brace.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to click my fingers at you. It was an AR pistol, and he had that slung across his back or in front of him or however. And anyhow, someone saw it and they called law enforcement on him. Mm-hmm. And so this video takes it, and this guy's being very. I mean, he's sitting in his vehicle. He's not gotcha. He's not all this stuff. In fact, the video was actually taken from body cam footage.
Yeah, it wasn't him,
which was amazing.
Holding his phone up. It was the body cam. Yeah.
And it shows all these law enforcement officers come, and they are talking to this gentleman, and they obviously take his firearms from him, and they're checking him out. And when I first watched it, I'm like, man, they're like, man, do you think they know how to handle these guns a little safer? That's what showed up to me, because I'm all about the safety, right? And it took them a while to clear the guns. Some of them didn't know how to clear the guns, and that was a little surprising to me. And then I know you got a lot to say about this, and that's fine. That's why you're here. And I'm just my initial thoughts, right? And then they didn't know is this legal? Can he do this? Is he allowed to carry this? Can he open carry this? And they were asking the questions, I guess, and that was good rather than just assuming, right? They called what they called the firearms number, or I don't know. That's what they called it.
Yes, probably. Yeah, whoever,
like an info line,
handles the information for them,
right? And checked out and found out that he was good to go. He was doing everything 100% legal, and it was the handling of the firearms that kind of concerned me a little bit. And they weren't being super safe with it. If something were to happen, I think if the gun would have gone off or someone would have bumped that trigger, it would have been a totally different video at that point.
Yeah.
But what was your take on this? Now you have a different take on it, and I like it. And we talked about it before, and I had to stop you and say, save all that for the podcast.
Well, what do you want to go into first, from the civilian or from the officer standpoint?
Ooh, choices. What would make more sense? Let's do the civilian and then go into the officers. The floor is yours, sir, until I interrupt you.
All right, yeah. From the civilian side, I think he handled it well. And I had the analogy of it's like any other job, being an officer. For the most part, obviously a little safety concerns, but it's like going to the grocery store, right?
Right.
Say you see a sale on peanut butter, 2 for $5, right? The clerk, you've seen the clerk 1,000 times, nice guy. You go to get the peanut butter. It says 2 for $5 on the shelf. He rings it up. It comes out $6.50, right?
Right.
As a customer, what are you going to do? You have to control what you can control, right?
Right.
Because either somehow this cashier is just out to get you. Probably not likely, right? He's a nice guy.
He wants his $4.50.
Yeah.
He's going to go home.
B, he rung it up as the wrong thing, and
right.
The system somehow is messed up, or so either way, though, it's what you can control, right? So it's two for $5. Yes, he should know, but basically the way he would know is if he walked down every aisle before every shift, just like an officer, right? How many laws are there? Yes, an officer, it would be great for every shift or before I go to bed at night, right? Every officer just goes through the penal codes and just refreshes themselves and just goes, all right, I gotta, before I start work today, I gotta go through every penal code and then every vehicle code, right? No, that's not likely. Just like every cashier at your local grocery store,
right?
Probably isn't walking the aisles before every shift to make sure the prices are right and stuff. No, he's showing up.
They should.
He might, if you show up for that 2 for $5 peanut butter. Maybe you do get that cashier who loves peanut butter.
Yeah.
He sees $6.50 and he is quick to correct it and says, hey, that's wrong. Just like an officer who might love guns like you, right?
Right.
If you're carrying, you have your Second Amendment right, you might come across an officer who immediately knows, like, oh, well, you're good. I know, hey, let me see the permit, whatever it is. He knows his stuff. Most likely, though, like in a grocery store, you might not get that guy who loves peanut butter as much as you.
Right.
You probably going to get a cop who doesn't know guns as well as you and doesn't know the laws as well as you. So from the civilian standpoint, it's important to control what you can control, right? So you go get that peanut butter, make sure you have the coupon, and then politely talk to the cashier, see if he could get someone to do a price check. Officer, in this situation, that guy carried himself civilian, and that he did that, right? He knew what he needed to know and said, here's my permits. Here's this. This is how I understand the law. That's if you're going to carry your firearm and stand up for the Second Amendment, it's important for you to know the laws so that you can control what you can control rather than hoping you get that officer who is as into the Second Amendment as you are.
And I want to point out too that, and as much as, and I've seen guys like this, but they weren't as well put together as this gentleman, right? This civilian. I've seen what I call Second Amendment auditors, right? They perform these Second Amendment audits, and they'll go walk through the park, open carrying a rifle, which is perfectly legal, right? They'll do that stuff because they want someone to come up and try and take it from them. They want someone, and we're talking not like run up and try to steal it from them. We're talking like law enforcement to come up and say, can't do that, can't. Oh, yeah, you need to know the law. I'm going to prove a point. And some of those videos are kind of entertaining, but this guy didn't do that, right? He knew his stuff, and he did what he was asked. Here's the permit. Here's this. Let me explain why I did this. Now you guys go and find out on your own that I'm correct. He didn't get in your face. He wasn't yelling. He wasn't screaming. And if you're going to go and you're going to open carry and you want to do like this Second Amendment type audit, and you know that that guy knew when he went into Lowe's with that rifle, what? He knew that it was going to garner some attention. But he handled himself wonderfully. And it was a good example of, hey, look, just because someone's open carrying a rifle doesn't mean they're just crazy and they're going to scream and they live in a shack in the hills. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And people have to understand what they're up against, with the media and whatnot, with some of the propaganda out there, what they're trying to portray people who open carry as. You have to be aware of that.
You don't want to play into it.
Exactly. You have to counteract that, be aware, be educated, and know exactly how you're going to speak to law enforcement and interact with law enforcement rather than be surprised. You know what the image they're trying to put out there. So use that awareness to your advantage.
Yeah, and I think if this guy would have come off as being crazy and I got you, I think it probably maybe have gone a little sideways for him.
Yeah, I mean, just think of it again with the grocery store. Just when you see someone yelling at the cashier, do you think, oh, they must have a valid point? No, you think, well, what are you doing yelling at this person who's just trying to do their job?
They're just trying to make their minimum wage.
Yeah, you would look at that person. So same thing with interactions with cops and with your firearms, right?
Right.
You trying to do I got you and to berate an officer, regardless, there's certain aspects, we could talk constitutionally, but how you're going to look is like that crazy person yelling at a cashier over 2 for $5 peanut butter.
Right. Gotcha. So that was from the civilian standpoint.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the other side?
From the officer standpoint, and this is hindsight,
Well, sure, and it all is.
Because every officer, I'm sure anyone could go through my career and tell me all the things I did wrong as well, and I have some funny ones.
Where's the ransom money? Where's that money that you stashed? I'm kidding. From that, there's definitely officer safety concerns. Right.
I would say, number one, who's the point person who's supposed to be in contact? It seemed like it changed a couple of times within it.
It did.
And they're within a confined space and they're crossing each other. So if I hear firearms are involved from an officer standpoint, I'm not interested in, hey, let's all 5 of us be within 2 feet of this vehicle while we figure out if the law was broken. No, probably going to allow one person and then make sure everyone else not flagging each other. There's no reason for everyone to be there. And then because that confusion arises too as, oh, did you clear this? Did you not clear this?
And that's what happened.
Yeah, because you got 5 people around, and that is what happens. That's kind of a human thing that happens. You got a group and you see something that needs to be done. And it was like that in the military too. You assume one of the other 5 people hanging around already did it.
And essentially what should have happened is the person that actually took the firearms, he should have been the one that automatically cleared the weapons.
Chain of custody at that point. So for the person who gets it needs to make sure they clear it before handing it off to someone else.
Right.
Yeah, it's that chain of custody.
And a high quality firearm too. Taurus. The guy was carrying a Taurus pistol, and I'm gonna irritate a lot of Taurus people out there. It's an okay weapon. The guy had a Taurus and he had an AR pistol. I mean, come on, up your game on the handgun. It's the handgun side of it. Come on. But well, it was good to get your take on it. And it was just kind of an interesting, I looked at it and saw the safety concerns as far as my instructor went right to clear that. They set that hang, clear the gun, and then to the guy with the rifle, point it somewhere else when you're clearing it, right? And I will say this, kudos to the officer that did pick up the rifle, because you heard him in the background. You heard him say, I don't know how to clear that. He asked, hey, do you know how to clear this?
Yeah.
So he asked. I mean, he was trying to get it cleared, but they were waving that handgun around, though.
Well, and when he couldn't clear it, he took it to the driver's side door to get it cleared. So as a civilian, that number one, officer safety, but also as a civilian, I'm thinking, you have my rifle that you don't know how to use, and you're bringing it right by me. To ask the other officer to clear it. Hey, you already have my firearm. You don't know how to use it. Can you keep it away from me so I don't get shot with my own firearm?
That's right. That's right. So what did you think about the guy? And I don't know what is this kosher or not. I'm literally just curious. So the officer was taking the gun from the gentleman in the car that when they first came out with the handgun, but he leaned clear over him. Yeah. Should he have pulled the guy out of the car to take it? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, I would think.
He's put himself into close proximity to that.
I'm not sure what he was thinking. There is the whole laws with detainment and stuff. I don't know. But then again, he already basically is detained at that point.
But could he have said, hey, can you get out of the car? I want to maybe
and that's what I mean. This guy. I would... To give him the benefit of the doubt, I'm thinking maybe that was on his mind, the detainment, because there is a thin line. He may have thought, I'm not saying that's what it was, but he may have thought, well, by not asking him to get out the car, I technically haven't detained him. So he might have been trying to cover his butt.
Gotcha.
Not knowing exactly how to handle the situation.
I'm going in to get the gun.
I would say no. You should. In that way, you can ask someone to get out of the car, especially if they're being cooperative as this guy was, where technically that's not a detainment. If you say, do you mind getting out of the car?
So I can get your gun.
Yeah, and then can you stand over here next to this officer as I do? So something along those lines.
Right.
But he may have been thinking, because I think he was by himself at first, he may have thought, well, if I get him out, that technically puts me in legal territory of having to explain why I detained this individual.
Gotcha. So he had to weigh his pros and cons, and he chose to go in for the gun.
Yeah, and I would say absolutely no, don't do that. But benefit of the doubt, I would say maybe he was just overthinking the situation and thought, And that was the other thing about that video. All the officers I saw were very young. It looked
they were very because some of them act a little like well, at the very end, you had that, you heard the woman, the female officer, not picking on her, but he's just allowed to carry all that.
Yeah, and then even the three striper, he looked like he was maybe in his 20s.
Yeah.
So it looked like
that might be something they didn't deal with very much.
Yeah, and same thing, again, to put it in perspective of other jobs, right? If you walk into the grocery store and you see a bunch of 19, 20-year-old cashiers, you probably can assume that they're going to make mistakes and they aren't of the most knowledge on the grocery store. So same things with those cops, and maybe there's a reason for that. There's a lot of retention issues right now in law enforcement, to where, again, as if you're carrying a firearm and you care about your Second Amendment rights, it's important to know that, right? Right now, in these times, you may be coming across a lot of young, fresh officers.
Oh, yeah, because they're trying to fill spots.
Yeah, so you probably are going to come across a lot like that, to where you're going to have 4 26-year-olds going, you could carry that? Yeah, they sincerely do not know.
Yeah, because you got gun guys, you got guys that aren't gun. You got they'll go out and they'll qualify, and they don't shoot guns on the weekends because they enjoy guns. It's what they have for their job. They go qualify, and that's pretty much it. Then you got the gun guys, the cops that are gun guys, and they may go compete on the weekends. They go shoot on the weekends. They reload ammo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then those ones too, a lot of times, the way, especially in larger departments and smaller departments, I suppose, but right, that seasoned person who maybe likes guns, knows about the gun laws.
Yeah,
he might be a detective. He might have some office job now.
He's moved on.
Yeah, he's probably moved on. So again, if you're carrying, understand that that's what you're probably going to come across is young officers or officers who aren't as seasoned,
Right.
who probably it's important for you to know more than they do at that point, and to speak calmly
and be respectful.
Yes,
yeah,
and be respectful.
let them know. And I was always told too that to a certain extent, if you start arguing with one during a stop on the side of the road, you're not going to win there.
Yeah. And again, I always think of it, and this is how I try to carry myself as an officer, was think about it as another job. Again, grocery store, same thing. You argue with a 19-year-old, where are you going to get? He probably has no power to change anything about it. He could maybe ask for a manager. And so you yelling at him, it gets you nowhere.
See, I don't get to do that anymore. It's all self-checkout. But hey, so you don't know this about me, but I used to live in Kansas, and maybe you've heard the story if you listen to the past podcast, but I've had my gun taken from me by an officer. I was actually driving. I got pulled over because what was I? Was I speeding? I was probably speeding. And I got pulled over, and I had my gun with me. It was on my hip, and I got pulled over. I gave him my permit, gave him my license, and I think this was a mistake on his part. Okay, and I mean, it is what it is. He can take the gun, but he actually, I gave him a pre. Where's your gun? I said, it's right here it's on my right hip. I kept my hands up here. It's on my right hip. I'm sitting in the driver's seat, right? And he goes, well, can you hand me your gun? And I went, no. And he's like, whoa. He got defensive.
Yeah.
And he's like, why won't you hand me your gun? I need to see your gun. I could see him getting a little fidgety. I said, because what's going to happen is I'm going to draw this gun from this holster.
Yeah. And
I'm going to hand it to you, and your buddy's going to roll up behind me and think I'm trying to shoot you.
Ooh, yeah.
And I said, you can have my gun, but I'm getting out. I volunteered. I'm getting out of the vehicle, and you can take it from me. I said, I have no problem with that, but I'm not handing you my firearm. You shouldn't ask me to put my hands anywhere near it.
Yeah, I think that was smart of you. I think as an officer, the way I was trained was in that situation, you're very specific.
Right.
So knowing, okay, it's on your right side, I might say with your left hand, keeping your right hand on the steering wheel.
Can you reach over? Right. How to manipulate it.
Yeah, you shouldn't leave it open. Hand it to me.
Right. Yeah, that's
you
what
want to be very specific, and so that way too, as an officer, you're aware if someone's not following the command. So if I just say hand it to me, right, you could start making a bunch of movements, and I'm thinking, okay,
yeah, I haven't actually disobeyed you. I'm doing what you tell me.
Whereas if I say keep your right hand on the steering wheel, with your left hand reach over and grab it, and I see your right hand come off the steering wheel, then I know, okay, this guy's about to try to shoot me.
Yeah.
So that's why, the officer should use specific commands for that, not only for you and your safety, but also for his own. You don't, hand that to me.
He had one of his buddies rolled up at about that time.
Wow.
And then I got out of the car. They took my gun, and it was Kansas. It was raining. And Todd was an eagle on the car during a rainstorm, where they decided to give me a ticket for speeding or not. That was wonderful. Cars are going by. I'm like, I've never done anything wrong in my life, and I'm like this on the hood of the car. Yeah. I'm like, whatever.
In fact, I would not knowing Kansas law,
right,
or what they
go
through in the
academy. Was legal, but he was a little nervous.
Also, I would say if someone has already handed their permit, they're able, and this is a speeding ticket situation, you might even say, hey, just go ahead, keep that firearm there, keep your right hand. I would say
never had to give my firearm at any other speeding tickets before.
Exactly. I would say there's not really a reason to involve the firearm at all. Yeah. Because at that point, it's just you're adding...
well, and then it could you could hit the trigger. There could be a negligence.
So much. It's okay. I know it's in a safe spot. You've made me aware of where it is. I might confirm. Okay. Yeah, I see it. And then from there, make sure it stays there. Don't move that right hand.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm aware where it's at. It can't shoot me if it's where it currently is at.
I was carrying the XD, the subcompact. Yeah. Another thing, and I know that people know about this story. Maybe they don't remember it. Maybe they do. But, I like to go on and run these ultra races. And being ex-law enforcement, you might get a kick out of this, right? First of all, we'll start off saying I am cheap. These races cost a chunk of change to, depending on the mileage, they're anywhere from $150 to $300, right? To enter one of these races. And then you have to travel there.
You have to pay to run.
Yeah. and then you have to travel there.
Yeah.
And then you got to get a hotel, right? And all this stuff for a couple nights, usually the night before and then the night after, because you don't feel like driving home. Well, this one, I was living here, and the race was in Prescott, Arizona. My brother's going to do it with me. He has access to has an old Honda Odyssey minivan. Okay, we took the seats out of the back, and we loaded our stuff in, and away we went. And we were cheap. We only got the hotel for 2 nights, but I got off work a little early, and I was able to leave a little early. And he's like, let's just go. Let's just go. And we'll do what we're going to dirt bag it, right? We dirt bag camp, which means we're just going to sleep in the freaking van somewhere, right? And we got in there, and we got into Vegas. And we got into Vegas. I'm going to say we were still in Vegas, but I think we were in like Henderson, which is pretty much Vegas.
Yeah.
And we're driving. It's dark, and I'm like, he's like, where are we going to crash at? Because we weren't gonna get somewhere to stay. We're too cheap, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know, dude. This is a whole new world over here. Like, I'm used to freaking Buell, right? And we're driving around, like Walmart. The Walmart parking lot, because I mean, people sleep in the Walmart parking lot all the time. Well, not over there. I mean, they had like security driving around, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is not gonna be good. So we drove around, and then we decided that was a no-go. And it's getting late. It's like 11 o'clock. I mean, we need to get some rest here, right? I mean, we got a big race. It's like the thing was like a 91K. It was like 68-mile race, right? And we're driving around, and I was like, our church. Let's find our church. We'll go in the church. It'll be safe. A Mormon parking lot. LDS, we're safe. We're good. So we drove around to the first church. We should have been tipped off, right? First church we found, gated parking lot. The whole building was gated up. And I'm like, where the hell are we at? I mean, this is like, Buell's too big for me, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a small town guy. And I'm like, well, that's not good. And we're driving around. I'm looking up where churches are at, and we found one. And we got there, and it looked like it was in a pretty decent neighborhood, right? And I was like, and it wasn't fenced. It was a big parking lot. My brother's like, let's go back in the back corner of that park. I said, no, let's not go in the back corner of the parking lot, because that's gonna tip somebody off, right? Let's say we'll park here in the front in the parking lot under the light. It's not like we were cooking dinner. We literally shut the van off. He jumped in the back, and he's like, there's a room back here. I'm like, I'm not laying back there with you. So I laid the passenger seat back, and I'm not sleeping. I mean, I just don't sleep well unless I'm at home in my own bed. But I'm kind of dozing in and out, and he's just out snoring. I'm laying there, and I open my eyes and red and blues, and I'm like, oh, man. And I'm like, I was disgusted more, not because they were there, but because it was this whole situation. And I'm like, wake up. He's like, what? I'm like, I've been waiting for this. Here they are. And he's like, what? And I'm like, open your freaking eyes, dude. Red and blue lights. Meanwhile, when I go anywhere, I had a backpack, and I had like 3 handguns in there. That's just what I do, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't make it simple with just my carry gun. I got 3 handguns loaded, full mags in there, and like 3 extra magazine extra for each hand. That's just whatever. I don't know. It's just the way I do. So as I'm laughing because I'm replaying this in my head. So I freaking opened the door, startled the officer. You're right, and he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I'm like, oh, I'm good. He's like, what's going on here? And I'm like, by the way, I'm not the only one in here. My brother's in here too. He is? Yeah, well, get on over here, and so keep your hands right. And he was startled.
Yeah.
So I get over there. My brother, he comes out of he's half asleep. We're standing there like barefoot in the parking lot, Good thing it was Vegas and it was still warm out. And my brother's like, he's like in his boxers or something, because I'm like I'm not getting undressed to sleep in the freaking van, And I go there, I give him my permits and my license and stuff, and he's like, oh, and I said, yeah, the backpack is on the driver's side seat. They're in there. And he went and got him, and he was cool. He ran all the numbers on them. He took them, unloaded every bullet and which is, they can do that, right?
Yeah.
Unloaded everything. He chatted, got startled when he saw I had a pocket knife, took it, and it was all good to go. But what we didn't realize, they were just doing their job. What we didn't realize was that church building had been burglarized a week before.
Oh.
And they were actually members of that church. They went to that particular building, and so they made it their... they were watching.
Oh, wow.
They were watching the whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, so let me, and they're pretty good guys, right? It came to be, they were pretty good guys. And they're like, meanwhile, I hate when I get nervous, and I'm nervous, right? I'm nervous. So I kind of like shake a little. I'm like, oh, great. This looks fantastic. I'm trying to crack jokes because that's what I do when I get nervous. And they're good guys that we were talking to them, and they're like, well, yeah, you're in Vegas, and there's like two guys sleeping in a van. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I know how that looks. But anyhow, everything was cool. We had to convince them that it was funny because they're like, you're going to do what? Because they always ask, what are you up to? Where are you going? And what? And I was like, yeah, we're running this race. It's like 91. What? And I'm like, look it up on your phone. And I promise you, I'm not making this story up because they didn't believe us and they found out it was all good. And they're like, okay, well, you guys are good to go. I said, do we need to move? He goes, no, just you can stay here. By the way, this is a really bad neighborhood. And I'm like, what? He goes, you didn't notice all the fences? I thought that was like... I thought that was like hiding the fancy houses. And he goes, no, it's not. So anyhow, we were in there and they actually, we stayed there the rest of the night, and I didn't really sleep at that point. Mm-hmm. And I actually saw them go by a couple times just to check on us, make sure that we were cool, right?
Yeah.
And that nothing was going. So it was kind of interesting, but they will take the guns.
Yeah.
They will take them apart. And he left. He goes, all your guns are on the floor there. He goes, you got a pile of ammo. I'm like, oh, great. So I sat there reloading mags all night.
Luckily, another officer didn't come by and see that.
Exactly. I told him, I was like, you guys got to let other officers know that we're good. He goes, oh, dude. He goes, we're here till like 7 a.m. You're good.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's cool. But that was quite the adventure.
Yeah, I bet.
So, and then we tried to go and visit the dam that's over there.
Hoover.
Yeah. My brother's like, you gotta see. He's like, my brother's like the traveler. I don't want to leave my house most of the time.
Yeah.
You gotta see Hoover Dam. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. And so we drove down there, and we get there, and as he drives, like, you're gonna love it, man. This is freaking cool, man. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, I can't. He goes, what do you mean you can't? You can't see who? I said, no, look at the signs, dude. No guns. They got security people here. I was like, he's like, well, I can't turn around now. They actually are guarding that thing now. I mean, they got rifles and everything. And he's like, well, I can't turn around. They're going to think we're running. And I'm like, just let me handle it. Pulled up there, and I was like, so he goes, you here to see Hoover Dam today? And I'm like, he goes, is there anything in your... I said, well, let me stop you right there. I said, I saw your sign back there. There's nowhere to turn around. I said, I got a concealed carry permit. I do have some handguns. I said, we want to just leave now. Okay, we'll turn around. And it was my brother's like freaking out. He's like, I'm never traveling with you again. He goes, two times in like 12 hours. We have law enforcement visits because you and your freaking guns. I thought it was pretty entertaining myself, but
you see the way you handled it, though. That's how you should, and that's how most people everyone who wants to carry their firearm should.
Right.
They should be aware of their situation, and right. You knew that you obviously weren't looking to harm anyone, right? But it was important for you to facilitate that to those who don't know, right? Those officers don't know, so you have to be able to explain yourself without necessarily be quick to be to feel harassed, right? It's based off of a lack of knowledge, and you just have to be able to provide them with that knowledge to make sure the situation turns out.
Well, and people, as much as I like to question everything, even law enforcement, especially law enforcement, that's just me. Yeah. But you know what? If I'm going to carry a gun and I'm going to get pulled over, I know what I need to do. Exactly. I'm not going to be a dick about it. I'm just not going to be a jerk because I want to just get to where I'm going.
Yeah.
I mean, and around here more often than not, they go, oh, okay, cool. Where's it at? Okay, yeah, just keep your hands on the steering wheel. You're good.
Yeah.
And then they'll come back and say, well, you were speeding. But I think they take it to if you let them know. Because in Idaho, you don't have to let them know. It's not you don't have to inform. And because you let them know, a lot of times they'll be like, okay, just slow down. Thanks for letting me know about the firearm, because they appreciate that. And a lot of times I end up talking to them for a while, like, hey, what do you carry? They're like, what are you carrying? Well, how do you like that? Oh, I haven't got that yet. And you have a little side conversation with them, right? And I think a lot of times if you're respectful, I think it's gotten me out of probably a handful of tickets.
Yeah. Yeah, and that would be my thing even now. It's basically a matter of if it's in a place in which it can come up, in which it involves that officer's safety, you should bring it up. Say it's in your glove box or whatever, and he doesn't ask for anything in your glove box. I might not. There's no need to say anything, right? But if he says, reach for the registration, I'm going to let him know, all right, hey, there is a firearm in this glove box, so you don't get surprised by seeing it there when I open it.
What's really interesting to me is, and that my law enforcement guy that teaches my class with me, he talks about that, and he's like, if it's in there, just let him know. Yeah. And he goes, if people let me know, he goes, and this is what's crazy to me, right? This is what's crazy to me. He goes, I don't need to see your insurance. I don't need to see your registration. Yeah. Give me a few minutes. I can go look it all up.
Yeah.
I go, why the hell do I get a ticket if I don't carry it in my vehicle then?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. Yeah. If you can look it up, just because I'm lazy, didn't listen to my wife, and it's still stuck to the refrigerator, waiting on me to put it in my vehicle, why do I get chewed out because I don't have it in my vehicle?
It's actually the same with registration as well.
Yeah, if you can look it up, why do I have to carry it?
Basically, each time, in most of the situations, we would look up your registration prior to pulling you over.
And then ask for it.
It can verify, but for the most part, it was a redundant thing in order to gain cooperation.
In order to jam me up. Yeah. That's what you're trying to do.
But basically, I can look up, whether or not you paid your registration before I even pulled you over.
There you go. Tax dollars at work. I'm sorry. We'll end on that note. But hey, I want to thank you for coming into the podcast. As usual, this has been a great one. We've gone over an hour. My listeners are gonna love this because it's actually a long one again. I just want to say, if you guys are whoever's listening, thank you. I appreciate it. We've almost been doing this another year now. I'm not even sure. I quit counting podcasts years ago, so I don't know how many we've done. Been doing it for a handful of years. Well, more than a handful. I think we've probably been doing this for 4 or 5 years.
Nice.
Which I think is pretty good, right?
Yeah.
It kind of kept it alive.
Yeah.
But share it with your family and friends. I tell you what, if you're looking for a Christmas gift, right? A holiday gift for your families, for your buddies, right? Say, I got a gift for you. Let me see your phone. Look it up. Subscribe them to the pod. It won't cost you a dime. Subscribe them to the podcast, right? If you're going on that long trip with your family, your wife, your kids, well, most of them are family friendly. Listen at your own risk, but you can play it for all your family and your friends. Share it on social media. That would be absolutely fantastic. I got a lot of stuff that can actually help you this winter, help you train, help you. I've got some online courses. I can get you hooked up with those. I will leave that information in the show notes. I've got an ebook. You can check that out as well. And like I said, just share the podcast. That's what's most important. And go out and have a good time with your family. Have a safe holiday season. Enjoy the turkey, whether it's smoked, whether it's deep fried. Don't catch your deck on fire. Don't do that, right? Deep fry outside in the driveway. And I'll see you guys hopefully in another week. Thanks. Bye.